The thumb spica splint is used to immobilize fractures of the scaphoid, lunate, first metacarpal, and thumb. This radiograph demonstrates a fracture through the mid-portion of the scaphoid bone. Place the patient sitting on the stretcher with the arm extended or resting on a bedside table. Use a piece of 3 or 4-inch Webril to measure the required length of the splint. Measure along the radial aspect of the forearm from the tip of the thumb to the proximal third of the radius. Lay this piece of Webril on a bedside table and then roll out an additional 3 layers to form the cast padding. Use 2 pieces of Webril to make the top layer, each offset from the previous layers by 50%. Next, roll out 6 to 8 layers of 3 or 4-inch plaster on top of the Webril. The plaster may be folded back and forth upon itself during this process. Soak the plaster in room temperature water until fully saturated. Raise the plaster from the bucket and remove the excess water by allowing the layers to fold down on themselves and then gently squeezing them. Lay the plaster down onto the cast padding and smooth it over with your hands. Fold the overhanging edges of the top layer of Webril over the plaster to form a single outer layer that will prevent the plaster from sticking to the elastic bandage. Apply the splint along the thumb and radial aspect of the forearm. Use the palms of your hands to gently mold the plaster to the body. Use 2 or 3-inch elastic bandage to secure the splint. In this example, the elastic bandage is first wrapped along the mid-portion of the splint to keep it in place. Subsequent wrapping occurs in the usual distal to proximal fashion. Note that the wrap only involves the thumb and none of the other fingers. Overlap each pass of the elastic bandage by 50%, applying a moderate amount of tension as you proceed. Gently mold the plaster to the body, again using the palms of your hands. The wrist should be splinted in approximately 20 degrees of extension, and the thumb should be flexed at both the MCP and IP joint, as depicted here. Once the splint has been applied, repeat a thorough neurovascular examination of the hand.